Thanks for your
Yeah.
kind invitation. Thanks to Helbling for the invitation to speak here today, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon from so many different places and places quite afar. I'm delighted to be here with you, and I suggest we start right away looking at this topic and going into the session. So the talk is about mixing the serious with the fun in the teaching of young teenagers. It's quite interesting when it comes to young teenagers. It's a bit difficult to define these days because the latest research in neurobiology actually suggests and there are various theories why this is the case, that teenagers mature a bit later in life these days, surprisingly. So when we talk about young teenagers, tweenagers, as some people call them, this age-wise, this might actually go up to even 15 or 16 these days. And it seems that the development of the prefrontal cortex, so full maturity, often is achieved not earlier than the late 20s or even early 30s these days. That is quite surprising, really, and there are various theories about that. But let's start straight away. Teenagers and young teenagers are not always easy to teach. We know that. Even if you're a very enthusiastic teacher, it can be difficult at times. Uh, I'd like to quote from Ockle Smith here. I'm sorry, this is the wrong um, uh, button. Okay, here we go. Who says that it's much harder to find a child cute if they are taller than you, I guess. And I think in many people's minds, size correlates with cognitive ability and emotional development. The presumption being that if a child is beginning to resemble an adult physically, they should behave like one too. Unfortunately, this is not the case. So we are faced, as teachers of young learners, we are faced with customers, so to speak, who are really in between. They're teenagers. They're not children anymore. They're not proper teens yet. They can be very, very childish and love childlike fun. And at the same time, they can have an enormous amount of world knowledge. They have an interest in the world out there, and they also have a depth of knowledge about the world out there that is in no way comparable to what most teens like 20 or 30 years ago were like. This is something we need to keep in mind. Dan Siegel, the prominent American psychologist who's written intensively on the teenage psychology and the teenage mind, actually says a central idea is that in very key ways, the work of adolescence, the testing of boundaries, the passion to explore what's unknown and exciting can set the stage for the development of core character traits that will enable adolescents to go on to lead great lives of adventure and purpose. So let me unpack this a little bit. Again, Dan Siegel stresses also that what young teenage learners do, their work, so to speak, is often about risky things. They test their boundaries. They test our patience. They go beyond what is acceptable at times. And they explore what's exciting, and they cross borders. That can be a pain for us. And at the same time, this testing the boundaries is something that is extremely important for their own development. So it's sometimes the very difficult teenagers that become very responsible and very, very, very mature adults, people who have leadership qualities, people who are actually leaders in many different parts of societies. So in a way, being a teacher is about a tightrope act. It's about balancing a number of things that we need to keep in mind so we can somehow keep them focused. And we need to attend to both. We need to attend to the child in them, and we also need to attend to the world smart thinking and almost mature teenager at the same time. And this is where I would like to actually ask you to have a look at the chat for a moment. And what I'd like you to share in the chat is, what are your recipes of success for success when it comes to keeping both of these young people, or both sides in a young person's inner world, happy and motivated? How do you appeal to the child and to the more mature teenager at the same time? Can you just write a few of the things that you do that are successful for you, please? I'll give you a minute. It's not easy, Magdalena says. Thank you. Yes, it's true. It's really not easy. Absolutely. Gonzalo said interacting with them, combine discipline and respect, engage the students in discussions about topics that are important to them. Thank you. Teaching through games, competitions, listening, waiting, giving space, creating a sense of belonging. I struggle with it so much, actually, but I always try to include some kind of games. Cooperative learning, I can see asking exploring questions, setting goals, interactive, didactic games, building rapport, not underestimating them, power sharing, saving measures, be entertaining, interesting topics, let them show their creativity. I try to include games, musical activities, creating bonds, wonderful something, sometimes doing pair work or group work, giving presents to them. Oh, really? Make them participate actively, division of labor, listening to their needs. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's great, because what it shows, what you're doing here is, I think, something that chimes with Earl Stevick's famous dictum, where he said, success in the language class is not just about materials, techniques, and linguistic analysis, and it depends more on what goes on inside and between the people in the classroom. He didn't say that the materials are not important. He didn't say that our techniques are not important, but he said that what happens inside of the learners and between the learners may be even more important. And this is, I think, what's perfectly reflected in what you have written there. Thank you so much. It was actually difficult for me because there was a flurry of brilliant ideas. I hope I could do a fair reading of all your wonderful ideas. Okay, thank you. Now, I would also like to have a look now together with you at our latest course book options. I would like to give you a few examples of we do what we do there, because I really believe it's innovative in many ways. But I will again frequently refer back to um, teenage students, adolescents, and what it is they particularly need for us. Because, as a few of you have also kindly said, it is a challenge. It is difficult. I remember Michael Grinder saying many, many years ago, if you can teach teenagers, you can teach anyone. It's true. Teenagers are far more challenging to teach in many ways. I believe we also need to mix the serious with the fun when it comes to teaching adolescents, young teenagers successfully. And one of the things is that we need. I'm just reading what Maria Lorena says. I mean, creativity as well as innovative activities that promote their interest in learning the English language. Absolutely, yes. So it's really about balancing both sides. Um, I believe one very important aspect is the kind of models we um, give them to explore. And what I mean here is, you know that adolescents are so um, enthusiastic about celebrities. We as teachers are sometimes quite critical of that, because celebrities are probably not always the best models for young people. If you think of the glitz and glamour of the film industry and all that, and the scandals around celebrities. At the same time, we need to be aware of that when young people adore their heroes and heroines, and often it is celebrities, it's actually not about a superficial process. Adults often think this is a superficial process. Um, from a psychological point of view, we are talking a process which is all about projection. So, in other words, when they select a football hero like Mo Salah, or they select somebody from the glitz and glamour of the film industry, or a famous singer, what have you, they actually select them because of the human qualities they believe those people have. And they project onto these people huge human qualities, such as love and genius, creativity, courage, creativity, what have you. And the fascinating thing is that if we manage to give them content which is about celebrities that also have some human qualities, then they can get more easily in touch with big human qualities they do not yet know they potentially have within themselves, and can develop so they become responsible, mature adults one day. And then the other thing I would like to talk about is so we have inspiring models from the celebrity world, but we are not looking at their celebrity status. And we have charming peer group models, young people. Okay, so this, I don't know if anybody has seen this text already. This is a text about a famous footballer, plays for Liverpool. His name is Mo Salah. And he's not only brilliant as a footballer, he seems to be quite a remarkable human being. And I'll briefly share this story with you. It was a day when the first Liverpool team were having their training in the Liverpool stadium. And there were a number of young kids out there waiting for the players to come off the field, come out of the stadium hoping maybe to get a selfie taken with them, or to be lucky enough to get an autograph. And among these kids there were two brothers. This boy here named Louis Fowler, he was, I think, 11 when the story happened, and his brother. Now, what happened was that all of a sudden the gate to the stadium opened, and Mo Salah drove out in his flashy sports car, I suppose. And the boys, these two boys, they get totally excited. They started running after Mo Salah's car. And what happened was that the little one, Louis, the boy in the photo, actually, he was so excited, he didn't know what he was doing. And he bumped into a lamp post and broke his nose. Mo Salah had been watching the situation, and when he saw that in the rear mirror, he stopped his car, he jumped out of the car, he ran back to the boy, he hugged the boy, he phoned the boy's family, he phoned the ambulance, and he waited there until the boy was taken care of. So this is the kind of content quality that appeals particularly to young teenagers. It's not about saying Mo Salah is a famous footballer. He lives in this fancy house and has, I don't know, 12 sports cars and earns so much money. It's about showing a celebrity who has remained a human being, and it's something that can really be motivating to kids. So we need to take this process of selecting heroes, selecting models seriously. Something I would like to stress also is that reading, of course, is a very difficult skill for many teenagers these days. It may have to do with the fact that they live in a very visual world with fast-moving screens, and they are not as much engaged in the routine of focusing on a piece of text and decoding something which is actually a difficult piece of text. So that's why I have recently really looked at differentiation in a serious manner. And I believe that we can actually give students both or either more challenges or more support, depending on where they are on their individual reading track, so to speak. So imagine this is an example of a B1 text, and it's okay if you have a B1 class, maybe for most kids in your classroom, but some kids will find it too easy. So they will actually quite appreciate being challenged through a more challenging text. And again, there will be other kids in your class for whom this is actually maybe too difficult, too challenging. So what I am doing here, and I hope that one day there will be a world when many course books will actually use this system, that we're giving students a more challenging text. So this is not a B1, but a B1 plus version of the same text. It's about 35% longer. It has more complex sentence constructions. And the lexis, the vocabulary, is richer. Now, you may have other students in your class who, of course, find this text too challenging, but also the standard text. So what they can do is they can click, as you can see here, we have we have this button here which says options. They click on basic text or they click on enriched text. You've seen what happens when they click on enriched text. They get this more difficult version. When they click on basic text, they get this kind of text. So here we have a text which is significantly shorter, has shorter sentences, less challenging sentence constructions, and also the vocabulary is easier to access. The level is A2 plus on the Common European Framework grid. And it is a different genre of text also. The graphic story helps learners decode meaning. And this is wonderful. This is taking learners seriously and helping them to achieve goals, maybe goals they don't see possible for themselves yet. Because normally, when you hand out an activity to students who are, let's say, weaker, they know, well, I'm given the easy task because I'm less capable. And they might draw negative beliefs about themselves. While here in this case, we can say, okay, you might want to try to read this text first, but it doesn't stop there. We go and ask them to read the standard text, and if they can do that, maybe also read the more challenging one. They can do that at home also, because learners working with this course book options are actually given for free also the ebook. And in the ebook, they can access these texts very, very easily. Deborah, the course book is called Options, and it has differentiated texts and also tasks for all the other skills in every unit. So every main text in each unit in the student's book and in the workbook has this feature of differentiation, actually. Now, you might ask yourself, how can I bring my learners together again after they've read 3 different versions of a text? Now, this is what I suggest, that you give them activities like these ones. They are in the physical book, actually. And these activities, they can be done by learners no matter which of the 3 texts they have read. And they are differentiated again. So the further down you go, the denser the band, the vertical band becomes, the more challenging the tasks are. So you have easier true false tasks, followed by more challenging sentence completion, and last but not least, questions, which also go into reading in between the lines, etc., etc. I said previously, we want good models, good role models for life, like, for example, the Mo Salah text, which I think is a flagship example of how you can actually motivate teenage students. The other thing is videos that are fun, videos with charming protagonists from the peer group. I was never so aware how important these things are until I asked learners, I asked teenagers what they thought of the characters in teen soaps in their course books, and I was quite amazed because the characters you see in a teen soap are, of course, actors. But kids ask questions about them as if they, were real characters filmed in real situations. And that's quite amazing. So let's look at an example where key language gets presented, but where students also can have real fun and enjoy and be entertained, because that's also what I believe is important. I don't think that we can entertain them all the time. I think we need passion from our learners. They need to learn how to work hard and how to work smart. But I also want them actually to have fun, and that can be achieved by a teacher who has a good sense of humor, who can laugh about herself or himself occasionally, But sometimes it's also good materials. And of course, our young learners live in a visual world. So good, I think, videos can be rather important too. Let's have a look.
The after school club, come and meet the friends. It's the after school club, come and meet the friends.
Oh, hello. I'm Alyssa. What's your name?
Hi Alyssa, I'm Maya. I'm new here.
Welcome to the After School Club, Maya. Aha! Here are the others. Let me introduce you. Everyone's very friendly here. Lily, this is Maya.
Nice to meet you, Maya. Welcome to the club. Nice to meet you too.
Lily is very polite.
I don't live very close to the school. I live near Kingfisher Park.
Kingfisher Park. We often go there at the weekends.
Yes, we sometimes play tennis there. We aren't very good, but it's fun. Alyssa is very sporty. And who is that?
That's Oliver. He's really shy. He doesn't like to talk much, but he's very funny.
He likes to read. He's very clever. Let's go and say hi.
Hey Oliver, say hi to Maya. She's new.
Hi, Maya. Don't believe anything they say about me. It's not true.
What? Us? We never say bad things about you, Oliver.
So, is that everyone?
Me, Lily, Oliver. Someone isn't here.
Ahmed. Ahmed is always late.
Okay, now this is part one. And of course, we can do all kinds of interesting things. We can get them to speculate about what's going to happen next, etc. It's early A2, actually. It's the beginning of the second level of options. Now let's go on and let's actually have a look at the second part. I hope you enjoy the humor there. Oops, I'm sorry. This is the second part now.
Ahmed. Ahmed is always late.
And here he is, Ahmed.
Ahmed, this is Maya. She's new.
Oh, hi.
What's the matter, Ahmed? You don't need to be so rude.
I'm sorry. It's just Mr. Wilson.
What about Mr. Wilson?
He always says, "Stop running, Ahmed. Slow down, Ahmed."
He does?
Yes, I'm sporty. I love running, but Mr. Wilson is always rude.
He isn't rude. I like Mr. Wilson. He's very helpful.
And funny.
Yeah, he's my favourite teacher.
Well, he isn't my favourite teacher. I don't like him at all.
Actually, I know Mr. Wilson.
You do? How?
Yes,
I know him very well.
He's my dad.
Well, he isn't that bad. I mean, I quite like him. It's just...
I'm joking, Ahmed.
You mean he isn't your dad? Oh. You're funny.
No, he isn't my dad.
That's good. Because he's super mean. Mr. Wilson is a mean teacher.
Actually, he's my uncle.
Good afternoon. And for those of you who didn't know, Mr. Wilson is in the building.
Like it? It's funny, yes. I've watched it so often, I still find it funny, I must say. And kids love it. So it contextualizes the language really well, gives a good introduction of the language, and kids love it. They have models here which they really like. Let's talk a little bit about grammar, actually. Grammar is something that teachers often like, teenage learners rarely like. But of course, we also know that if they did like it, it would actually really be helpful. So what does it mean, balancing the serious with the fun? For me, it means introducing the language in meaningful contexts, like in this case, this tweenage soap series, where new language gets introduced. Here, in this case, it was also new lexes like personality adjectives, helpful, sporty, etc., etc., etc. Then we can easily get them to reconstruct sentences from the video, and we can engage them in thinking about grammar rules. So an inductive approach to grammar, that's of course where some of them need a lot of scaffolding, need a lot of help from the teacher, because they haven't yet managed to get their head round meta grammar, and grammar rules can be very confusing for some of them. But we need to go that route, I believe, if we really want to help them, if we can at the same time back up their understanding of grammar with a solid body of receptive exercises. Receptive exercises are activities where they don't need to manipulate grammar forms yet, but they are dealing with meaning. This can be, for example, matching pictures with sentences. It can be sentence completion with chunks of language from a box, and so on and so forth. And that's important, I believe. I believe that sometimes we go into productive activities, productive exercises, a bit too early, actually. So that is how we actually deal with grammar. But you may say, where's the fun? This is the serious. This may be safe, going from a good and meaningful context towards an inductive, receptive exercises and productive exercises. But where's the fun? Well, the fun could be, for example, in a mnemonic support that helps to retain grammar structures. I'd just like to play you a grammar rap now. I've actually worked here with with two real rappers. It was quite an exciting experience, I must tell you. and Helbling have kindly not only developed these audios, there are also videos, as you can see, to support the grammar raps. And we have seen that learners love them. And then there is also the fact, and neurobiologists stress that rhythm and also rhyme, and rhythm and rhyme together, which you have in rap, actually helps to retain structures also. So let me show you one which is from a very early stage. So there are, I think that's even unit 1 in options 1. And later we're going to watch something on past simple passive. Okay, let's start with the easy one.
And now clap, clap, clap for the grammar rap. And today it's
There are
6 girls,
There are 6 girls
6 boys,
There are 6 boys
a football,
There's a football
ha, match,
There's a match
yeah, goal.
There's a goal
For the grammar rap you need to clap, clap, clap. But don't stop there, there's more to share. Alright. There are 6 girls, yeah. There are 6 boys, uh-huh. There's a football, ha. There's a match, there's a goal, and that's all. Yo.
Okay, very simple drill-like activities that really stick to the students' long-term memory. Thanks everybody for your nice compliments. Yes, I agree, Maria, that we need a context, and we have a very nice context here. Although, of course, the language is very limited, but we create a context here. Now, I'm sure, Maria, you will like the next thing, which is about the past passive, and of course, here we have a narrative context that actually helps students understand the new structure in, I think, a very nice context. Let's go. Oops.
And now clap, clap, clap for the grammar rap. And today it's
There are
I apologize.
For the grammar rap, you need to clap, 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 but don't stop there, there's more to share. Once I was told about a very funny crime, not the kind of crime that happens all the time. 3 young men were in California on holiday. They were told by someone how to have a fun day in that town. There was an amazing zoo. It was filled with small birds and big animals too. The men were taken there by a nice taxi driver, but the zoo door was closed. It closed at 5. And then the 3 men saw a window wasn't locked. They could get inside. The window wasn't blocked. Inside the zoo there were no people at all, just lions and monkeys and a giraffe so tall. Then a monkey was stolen by these 3 silly men. They got back to their hotel just shortly after 10. The monkey was noisy and banged on the floor, so the police were called by the guests next door. The police were told about what the 3 men did, and the men were arrested by a policeman called Sid. The men went on trial, a decision was made. They weren't sent to prison, but a fine was paid. And the poor little monkey, what did he do? He was sent straight back to his home at the zoo.
Okay, so that's an example of a more obviously more complex structure, past passive. And you can, of course, do all sorts of interesting things. Learners can, of course, try also to rap out, to act out the rap in class. They love this kind of thing, and of course, that's how we help them to remember structures. When it comes to vocabulary, songs can be very useful. Songs have somehow vanished from ELT materials. Sadly, because of the copyright issues, it's extremely difficult to get the copyright for hits. The other problem, of course, is that the lyrics of authentic songs are often too difficult or not really in line with what you want to teach to young adolescents. Okay, so that's why we write original songs here for levels 1 and 2, and we have a fantastic musician who turns them into real music. I'd like to play one example, and I have a question, a listening task. And that listening task is, as you will see, the singer is actually singing about her best friend. And my question is, who is the best friend? Here we go.
When I need a friend, you listen to what I say. You are always there for me and help me through the day. I'm often a bit shy and don't know what to say, but you are very sporty and always want to play. Can you keep a secret? What do you say? Do you wanna play with me? Are we best friends today? Can you keep a secret? What do you say? Do you want to play with me? Are we best friends today?
Are we best friends today?
I am very happy each day when I see you. Your eyes are green and shiny and your ears are lovely too. You know we are best friends, as everyone can see. But when you scratch the sofa, my mother shouts at me. Can you keep a secret? What do you say? Do you wanna play with me? Are we best friends today? Can you keep a secret? What do you say? Do you want to play with me? Are we best friends today?
Okay, I hope you like the song. The question is, it is a cat, and when you look at the lyrics, actually, what gives it away is that there are two lines in stanza 4 here. Your eyes are green and shiny, and your ears are lovely too. That's not what humans would normally say to one another. And we also have, but when you scratch the sofa, my mother shouts at me. Okay, so it's a cat. Yes, there was an interesting question from one of you about how can you, I think it was Paloma, how can you actually get students to, how can you inspire their creativity and write a stanza themselves? Well, it's maybe not that easy to write song lyrics, but it's not absolutely impossible. If you can teach them about scanning, so if you can teach them to write the same amount of syllables per line. Rhyme is, of course, a lot more difficult. They can do that also with the help of an online rhyming dictionary. And if they work in groups, that actually can bring some amazing results sometimes. You can also help them by giving them just prompts. So here we have, for example, stanza 2, I'm often a bit shy and don't know what to say, but you are very sporty and always want to play. You can give them just the prompts, I'm often, and a long line, and don't, a long line, but you, a long line, and always a long line, and get them to play with that. Tell them that they don't have to create rhymes here. and it's fine if they're little poems, because that you will get don't rhyme. So Paloma, try this out in class and let us know. Okay, the next point I would like to look at is the power of stories. I don't need to tell you how important stories are. I'd like to point out that I've actually written, together with Jeremy Harmer, a book for Helbling, which is titled Story-Based Language Teaching. So I could talk about the power of stories for hours. I won't. But a few key points. Stories are all about inspiring imagination and creativity. They stimulate curiosity. A good learner gets learners to listen in a totally focused way. They help, as we know, the development of the human brain. There's very clear evidence that children who read stories are also a lot more get a lot deeper in their thinking. They sharpen learners' memory because it's all about context, really. They teach social skills. They teach communicative skills. And a key thing, stories help to explore values. Values are about what is right and wrong in life, and good stories help to explore values. It's not easy with teenagers if we believe we can teach them values directly. So saying to them, you must do that, you should, you must not, you ought to, you ought not, that can create a bit of resistance from some teenagers and adolescents. If we give them good stories, they can explore values themselves. And if we then go on to say, what's in this story for you? What can you learn? What can we learn from a story like this? They come up with amazingly deep insights. Okay. I can see a question from Mehdi here. In our sessions, we should focus on songs that are related to the specific unit or lessons, but in warm-up, we are free to sing what we want to make students engaged in the lessons. Your feedback? Well, fine. I guess this will work. If students like this, if you like this, go ahead and do it. Certainly a good idea to also play songs that they know and that they like also in their time out of school. Teenagers love fantasy stories. Fantasy stories that are a bit more complex psychologically than stories we use with primary children. Primary children need a simple structure, beginning, a middle, and an end, a problem that needs to be solved. Stories for children, for teenagers need to be more complex. They need to have characters that are a lot more diverse, characters they can identify with, and characters they also strongly dislike. A fascination with extremes, and a fantasy world offers them possibility to reflect on the real world. Okay. And now let me just show you our fantasy story here. This is a series of fantasies for levels 1 and 2 of options called The Secret Spring. It's about a young boy who goes down to the cellar of his family's house, and in there, in a hidden room that he's not supposed to go into, he finds a pool of water. And when he looks into this pool of water, he sees the face of a young wolf. So that's one world. Then there is another world. It's a forest world of dinosaurs and strange animals. And in that world, a young wolf discovers another pool of water, And in the water, she sees the face of a young boy. So let me just play. So that's the frame. The story goes through 2 years, episodes in level 1, episodes in level 2 of options. And yes, absolutely, Gloria, I agree. I'm going to play to you now one of the episodes. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it all for time reasons, but just look at the quality. This is also, we are up, of course, against the world of entertainment in the ELT classroom. So we need good quality videos that impress our students so they will learn even more from them. Okay, let me start the video.
Run, little wolf, run!
Whoa! Who are you? This is my house. Where's the wolf?
Where's the wolf? I'm the wolf.
What? No, you're a girl. Who are you?
My name's Jenna. I'm a wolf, not a girl. And what's this?
A dress. Your dress.
Who are you? Where am I?
My name's Aiden, and you are a girl. You're in the cellar of my family's house.
Ah! Ah! Let me out! I want to go home!
It's okay. Please, we can help you.
We? Who is we?
Me and my sister Victoria. Jenna, it's okay. You can come out. Please, you're safe here.
Promise?
Of course.
Okay, I'll stop it here. You can imagine they become friends. They go to both worlds. They are in Aiden's world now, the real world. They go to the other world, the forest world, and they have adventures there. They become friends, and there are also other characters, characters that students will really dislike, evil characters. It's also about values, what is right, what is wrong in life, and so on. At the same time, of course, key language, in this case also important language chunks that we want students to remember. And now let's move on a little bit. We have a few more minutes. Learning to learn. So I think I mentioned this. Did I mention the phone call and the music thing previously? Lucy, help me. Not quite sure now anymore if I have mentioned this already.
No, Herbert.
No, thank you. So let me just briefly share that with you. We have various strands like learning to learn and learning for life. And here, what we're doing in learning to learn, we're not trying to be preachy and patronizing. You have to do this, you must do that, don't do this, you should, etc. We're giving students in easily understandable, comprehensible language important outcomes from key educational research. For example, we all know that students would love to have their phone and listen to music while they're studying. Now, a very recent series of research experiments shows that this is actually not very good. What they did was they gave a large group of students very challenging cognitive tasks. And these students had their phones on them. They were not using their phones while they were doing their tasks. Another group of students had to hand in their phones before the challenging cognitive tasks. And amazingly, although students were not using their phone, the group of students who had their phones on them achieved far worse results compared to the other students. So they were more distracted through the sheer presence of their phones. Now the researchers went further. They actually asked everybody to hand in their phones, but half of the group had a phone lying on the desk, somebody else's phone, switched off, lying on the desk next to them while they were doing the cognitively challenging tasks. And amazingly, again, it was the students who had no phone who achieved far better results. So we are giving students this information and we're asking them questions. So this is about developing critical thinking skills and helping them to understand what would be important for them. So rather than being preachy and patronizing, we're giving them food for thought. We do something that is, I believe, very important, and that is give them topics, and this is where the serious bit starts, where they are faced with topics that are of importance for the world we live in, the future of the world. Serious topics like, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And we have 17 spreads, 17 double pages about these Sustainable Development Goals. Like this one here is on responsible tourism. How can we engage in tourism that doesn't damage the environment? We always start with a documentary video where we have two teenagers leading into the project, and then they do a project themselves. They also have a reading text here. I'm not showing this to you now. We have culture texts also and learning for life content. I just briefly like to mention how important assessment for differentiated learning is and how much the digital world can contribute to that. So every student who works with options gets for free the ebook plus. They can use cyber homework. You can give them digital homework that gets corrected by the system. You don't need to correct. We have a vocabulary trainer that helps them remember the key vocabulary from every unit. We have dialogue karaokes where they can practice key chunks, key dialogues, and also a personal learning track. And this is a very unique thing that has never been produced for a teenage course. It's all based on a study by John Dunlowski and his team in 2013, where they actually looked at what are the most powerful study strategies. And they said that most study strategies that students use are pretty helpless. They don't really make any significant contribution to the students' learning. They say two study strategies are really effective: practice testing and distributed practice. And we are using that as the basis of what we call the personal learning track, and that's it. This is a very, very powerful personal study system that students get for free with options. They do the student's book and the workbook unit. They do an online test, their results. They do an online test in reading, listening, dialogue work, dialogue writing, vocabulary and grammar. They see the results. You don't need to correct anything. And then they get personalized practice tasks. In other words, when a learner has done really well in grammar, they don't need to practice more grammar. But if they have at the same time problems with vocabulary, they will get tasks that practice their vocabulary or their reading or their listening. Then they do another test. And of course, because the two tests, test 1 and test 2, are on the same level, usually, if they've done the extra practice, they see the improved results. It's something that you can look at. You get the results printed out. You can share them with the parents. The parents can look at the results of the kids, and the kids can use these study features at home. This is the end of the session. Thanks so much. If anybody is interested in having a look at options, finding out about it a bit more, scan this code here, this barcode. It leads you to an interactive brochure where you can try out some of the songs, some of the raps also, and you can actually get in touch with Helbling by also writing to, we don't have the website here. I think I'll give back to Lucy, who will tell you how you can get more information from Helbling.
Herbert, thank you so much. A wonderful talk. As you can see, the comments are just flooding in. People really, really enjoyed.
Thank you all. Thank you all. That's so kind.
Enjoyed the content and the course book material. So for those of you interested in finding out more, like Herbert said, if you want to go back to the previous slide, you can just scan the QR code and that will take you to a lovely interactive brochure. For those of you actually asking for digital materials or wanting to know where the books are sold, I've been sharing various times in the chat box, and I will do again, the link to find your local distributor, because it's such an international audience. We have people literally from India, Malaysia, Mexico. Fantastic to see so many of you. So thank you so much again, Herbert. Wonderful, wonderful talk. Thank you everybody for joining us. We have one more talk, the last talk of this series of the webinar. So if you haven't already signed up to our newsletter, please do. The link is on the front page of the Helbling website, and we will send you the link in your email tomorrow, which will also have your certificate of attendance and a link to the recording of this talk. So once again, thank you everybody. Thank you, Herbert. Thank you all of the participants. It's been a great session, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Many thanks and bye-bye.